First off, I just want to say that this game does not play any differently from Sonic Rush 1, and it's pretty different because the advanced games went in a different direction after every single game, so it's cool to see that the same style is still being used, but there are some new moves that we'll talk about later. First off, I want to talk about the aesthetic of this game. And this game's theme is a lot more like oceany, like has like a pirate theme to it, and I think that's really cool because not a lot of Sonic games really have that as a theme. So actually, I think this is the only game with a pirate theme, but it's still pretty cool in general though, and it went with it in a different direction with the aesthetic this time, so that's also pretty cool. And also, when you do tricks, there's also these star systems that if you do a bunch of tricks, then you can go up to like 10, 30, as many stars as you want, as long as you're in the air bouncing on stuff. So that's another cool mechanic. Like, I mean, the first level you play in this game is this mushroom level, and this level is actually pretty good. It's pretty fun and pretty good opener for the first level. And, I mean, it's basically feels like Leaf Forest from Sonic Advance 2, but it's still pretty fun though, and it has some Mushroom Hill aesthetic, and maybe it's trying to represent that zone, but who knows. Also, at the end of this level, there's also this grind rail section where you can switch between rails and you dodge these spike things. I mean, it's pretty short, but it is pretty cool to see, to be honest though, so that's pretty cool. And you guys might be wondering, where's Blaze at? Like, where is she? Well, we'll get to her later, okay? Like, cause this can't be a Sonic Rush without Blaze. Also, for one of Sonic's new moves, when you press R on your DS, then Sonic goes plunging forward. But then if you do it up, then he goes up into the air. So it's like kind of like an air jump, basically. And also there's some shields, but they're not like the elemental shields. They're pretty different from them. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like Sonic looks a lot more nicer in this game. Like, all the characters look a lot better. I mean, I don't know if it's just the models, like, have been upscaled, but I just don't know. And also, the animations look a lot more smoother and look a lot better on the characters than the last game, so that's another improvement. The themes are a lot more interesting in this game, and I also like how the levels actually have a lot, like, more gimmicks, because Act 1 could, like, just be part of the environment, well, doing something in the environment, but then Act 2 has a different gimmick that you have to get used to, and I find this to be pretty cool, and also nice. And you guys might be wondering, what about the bosses? Well, we'll also get to that later, because there's a lot more improvements in this game than just the stages. Also, at the end of every level, there's this treasure chest, so that's another cool detail. Also, the hub world is basically, like, non-existent. You just go to area, and there's also this beach area. And the 3D environment looks pretty cool in this game, so that's also pretty cool. And as I said, you can also select from different area to different area on this island, because at the beginning of the story you get crashed into an island, and the story in this game is actually pretty cool. I mean, it's not like mind-blowing, but it's a DS game, like I said in the Sonic Rush 1 video, so it's not that big of a deal. Also in this game, there's also this new character called Marine, and people say Marine's annoying, but I mean, it's not really that big of a deal because she doesn't have a voice, thanks to this being also a DS game, so there isn't any voice actors. And plus, you can also skip the cutscene in this game, so that's another improvement. Also, in the beginning of the story, Sonic and Tails are riding on a plane, and it's the same tornado from Sonic Adventure, so I thought it crashed. So does this game take place before or after? Who knows? I don't know. It's just something I would like to mention because it doesn't make sense. But the main gimmick of this game is you sailing. I don't know why they made this a gimmick, because this makes no sense and it just feels out of place. I mean, it's cool for like the first few times, but it just gets annoying after a while. And also, there's also different types of ship, like the tornado ship that I'm riding right now. And this one's a lot slower, and I really don't like this one as much, but it does have a like more of a range to where you can go. But in general, it's not really that good. But even though like this gimmick tends to get annoying, it is pretty cool in some ways, but it just doesn't make sense in general. Like, why would you have good stages and good like content in your game, but then you just put a gimmick that just ruins the game? Well, it doesn't ruin the game, it just makes it more obnoxious, you know? A lot of Sonic games suffer for like when the game in general looks and plays good, but then there's this gimmick that just gets in the way, and plus you're forced to do this, so this isn't optional. Anyways, the vehicle that you start with in the game is this jet ski, and it goes really fast, and it's actually really fun to control. And also, there's also these ramps that also give you extra boost gauge, and I find this to be really cool incentive to like go on the ramps and do cool tricks, and it's also really fun too. But this jet ski doesn't really give you a lot of distance, so it's not really that useful. But it is useful in the beginning in the game, because that's how you start with it. Also, there's this other vehicle, I forgot what it was called, but it goes underwater, and I'm not going to be covering that one because you all know how that works, and you dodge stuff underwater, and yeah. And then there's also this charge vehicle, and once you hold the bottom of the screen, then you charge a big fireball or something, and I mean, this vehicle is fine, but it's definitely not as fun as the jet ski. The jet ski was really fun to control, and it looked really fun to begin with, so this one was kind of a downgrade, but it's better than the bigger ship. Traveling to zones isn't the only thing you can do, because you can also go to special stages, and these are either good or bad. You either like them or you don't like them. And in this case, I kind of like them. I mean, to be honest, they're also bad too, because like some of the designs in the later ones, they make no sense at all. Like, you actually have to level up your jet ski, so then it'd be easier to win. But for some people that don't know that, they just go through the game without upgrading, so it's way harder and it takes a lot more time. And you guys want to know what also sucks? This game does not have autosave. So let's say you get the last Chaos Emerald, and if you don't save, you have to get all of them all over again. What is this? Like, this is a 2007 game. Maybe if this game was made in the 90s, I can understand. But even Sonic Adventure had autosave, I think. And it's just so weird to me. Like, why? Why'd they make it like this? Maybe it's because this game has a lot of content and it's hard to, like, save all of them, because it's not really for the DS's capabilities. I don't know. But, like, this is the 6th special stage I did. And guess what? I forgot to save, and guess what? I had to do it all over again because I didn't save. Like, why? Who made this? What? Why'd they make it like this? Also, there's this new character called Johnny, and he's an okay character. He's not like an amazing character, like an amazing bad guy, because this is the only game he was in. But he wasn't bad. It was just, he was okay, I guess. Also, on the sea, you can also find these other islands, which are called hidden islands. And these hidden islands are okay for the most part. I mean, they're probably the least good designed in the game, but they're okay. Also, one of them's a recreation of the Sonic Rush 1 levels, and I mean, I think it's pretty cool, though, to see the mechanics of Sonic Rush Adventure be put in Sonic Rush 1. And also, one of these levels have, like, a lot of bottomless pits, just like Sonic Rush 1, so I think that's really annoying. Also, Coral Cave is actually a really fun and good level. Like, this level has a really cool and fun moments where, like, you go on a minecart and then you jump from each platform to another, and it's just so fun while doing tricks in the air, and also these things that like carry you from a different place to another, and you grab more tricks, and then you can also break more blocks, and it's just so dang good. Like, I really like this stage. The only downside to the stage is that some of the time there is bottomless pits where like you break something and then it's game over for you if there's a big pit in the middle of it, and I really don't like that, but it's fine since this game is way better designed than, well, Sonic Rush 1, so it's a big step up. The aesthetic of this level also looks really good, and the enemies look good, the amount of platforming, the amount of speed in the level, it's just really good. I feel like all the levels in this game are really good designed, and they're all really fun too, so those are two big wins in general, so that's why I just really like about this game, and it makes it really underrated for me, because this game is packed with so much content, but like, a lot of people don't really talk about this game as much as they do Sonic Rush 1, which is pretty sad, but I think it's because of the sailing, but other than the sailing and stuff, I think this game's really good in general. Also, at the end of Act 2, there's also this minecart section that's actually in 3D, and you can actually jump and turn. And this section's actually pretty cool, and you can get a bunch of rings out of it, and you have to dodge spikes. And it just looks really good though, and I find this part to be really iconic in this game. But it's just a short section, so nothing to write home about, but it is really cool for it to be there. You know what else is cool? The bosses. The bosses of this game are a whole lot better than Sonic Rush 1's bosses. You can actually hit them a lot more times, and they're a whole lot funner, and a lot more cooler and unique, and these are probably one of the best bosses in the series. Or at least one of the good ones. Like, these bosses are just really dang good and really fun in general. I just really, really like these bosses. The only downside to these bosses is that some of them do have some attacks that are hard to like get used to. Like in the bosses, you don't really know what's happening, and then they just like leave an opening for a while. But I mean, it's not really a problem, to be honest though. These bosses are really dang good. And what I also want to say is that some of the bosses, like this one in the whale here, this one has a section where you go inside the whale, which is really cool. But this part's a lot more laggier because the bosses run at a lower resolution than the actual gameplay. Because this section's actually all 3D, like the bosses are all 3D in this game. And you could actually see that it's kind of lagging, and I don't really find this to be a big problem, but it does mess me up a lot of the time because the game just like runs a lot slower in these 3D sections. And it also makes sense why you can't boost in these bosses, or the game would be crashing every like 10 seconds because you could see the game lagging a lot more. But the bosses of this game are really cool, and they're really nice set pieces in general. But, I mean, they are laggy a lot of the time, so, especially this one right here. And I think they're just fun in general, to be honest, but that is kind of a problem, though. But there's also this pirate boss that is probably my least favorite fight in the game, because, like, you actually have to hit the boss, and then you have to go on top of the ship. But at first I didn't know that, so I kept just hitting the boss instead of going at the top. Oh wait, Blaze is playable in this game. Because I'm playing as her right now. So, you know what? Let's just talk about Blaze. So Blaze basically works the exact same as she did in Rush 1. Because she does have better airtime with Sonic. Well, than Sonic. And she's a lot like easier to like control. But she does she really does move a lot slower than Sonic, which does make it annoying some of the time because it's harder to build speed. But with the star system though, her tricks are a lot easier to do, and plus you're in like infinite boost most of the time, so it's not that big of a deal. Also, this is actually really good for newer players, but this game has a tutorial, and I mean, most players wouldn't really need this, but it is pretty cool to have it here, and also really useful for new players, just like I said. And also, some of the zones in this game aren't all perfect, like I said earlier. Like, there's like ones like the mushroom level and the snow level, which are really cool, and we'll talk about Blizzard Peaks later, but Haunted Ship is kind of a level where like you would want to know like what's going on in the ship. Like, it would be cool if you went inside the ship for a level, like let's say Act 2 for example. But this level here, it just feels a lot more emptier, basically. Like, it just feels a lot more less fun in general. Like, this level, you'd expect something really cool out of this level, but it's not really like that. You just kind of go through it and then it's just done. It's not really that cool in general, but it's not bad. It's just meh, to be honest. And also, in some of these levels, the game like starts in 3D, but then it turns into 2D, so like it's like a starter up for like doing tricks and stuff, which is really cool. And another thing that I would like to say about Haunted Ship is that it's not like all empty. It does feel empty at sometimes, but there is one cool thing that I really think is really cool, is that when you go on like a spring or something, there's also these cannon things which you go through, and then once you go through them, there's these trick things that, well, look at these. You have to time your attacks, or not attacks, the buttons timing, and then you get more tricks out of it. And I think it's really fun and cool. And there's also a pirate ship in the background shooting at you while you're doing it. And that would have been cool for that to be the whole level. Like, a cannon shoots at the pirate ship and then you go inside. That would be so cool. But it's okay though, because this is still really cool though, and plus actually fun. But the rest of the level, it just feels empty in general. I don't know, maybe it's just me though, but it's not like the best level or best zone in general. And also, this game kind of does suffer from screen crunch deaths. Maybe it's just me, but at the final levels or something, like this one I'm playing here, this one's definitely my least favorite zone actually. I mean, I forgot what it was called because these levels are so forgettable with the names, but this level here has these gimmicks where you like fly on top of the level with these hot air balloons or something. I don't even know what they're called. But then if you mess up, then there's these big lasers at the bottom which instantly kill you. Like, I don't get why they would design it like that, but at least this is only in one zone, so it's not that big of a deal. Like, Rush 1 had like a whole game like that because there's a bottomless pit on the first level of the whole entire game, which I thought was really annoying and didn't really need to be like that, because bottomless pits don't really serve as a challenge. They just serve as the game telling you to not go there. But if you just put it everywhere, it just feels really annoying. That it just feels the developers are really lazy with their designs. But let's talk about my favorite zone, Blizzard Peaks. This level is so dang fun. Like, you start on a snowboard in the first act. Like, and you do tricks on these snow ramp things. Like, this is so much fun. Why is this so much fun? And the aesthetic of this level just looks so good. Like, oh my goodness. Like, wow. Like, this should have been the first zone, to be honest. Like, oh my goodness. This is so much fun. The only thing I don't like about this zone is that, like, sometimes it, like, puts some unfair, like, obstacles, and then you just fall into a bottomless pit and then die. But I mean, it's barely in any of the acts in this level, so it's not really that big of a deal. But there are really good shortcuts that you can take in this level, which have you completing it faster, and the more you play this level, then the more you're gonna know the paths, and to speedrun it is gonna be a lot easier and a lot more fun. Like, why is, like, this level is just so good in general. Like, the ice and the snow, the ground, it just all looks good. Sonic looks good in it. Blaze looks good in it. Like, everyone looks good in it. Like, I really like this level. Let's talk about one of the last final bosses, which is this one where you fight Johnny and the red guy. I forgot his name too. Like, I don't even remember anything from this game, but this fight's actually pretty cool because you can hit them each time. Like, all the bosses in this game are just really fun, really interesting, and they don't take forever like Sonic Rush 1's bosses. And at the end, there's also this chainsaw thing that's really hard to dodge, and it goes really fast. And, like, oh my goodness, it's just so much fun. Like, this game's really underrated. I mean, maybe not everything about it, because this game does have a lot of padding. And like every other 2D Sonic game, there's going to be a Super Sonic final boss. And this final boss is exactly how you'd think a Super Sonic final boss would be in a 2D game. It's perfectly fine, perfectly harmless. It's not bad, it's not good, it's perfectly fine, it's not bad. But you're probably like, oh wait, how do you collect the Soul Emeralds as Blaze? Well, you actually have to repeat a lot of content in this game to unlock everything. There's hundreds of missions, and plus, you have to repeatedly play the bosses as Blaze, and you have to get S ranks as all of them. It's just, this game has so much padding, and I really don't like it. Maybe, I think that's because this game, like, doesn't really have the best reputation, because this game has so much padding, it's just really annoying. But anyways, I hope you guys have a good day, and please subscribe, and bye, and have an amazing day. Bye.